everybody. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes as more people roll in. Thanks. GM everybody, welcome to the last product office hours of this year. Thank you for joining us today. There is a Zoom link in the stage chat for anybody who wants to follow along with everything that we're going to be going over. And right now I have up the agenda for today. We're going to go over the roadmap. We're going to review that. I'm going to talk about something we've been working on, these high-level product strategy buckets and how the pieces of the roadmap fit into those strategy buckets. I'm going to go over some design updates, the results that we had from our first round of usability testing, some of the changes coming out of that, and then those changes will go into the second round of usability testing, which we're going to be doing. Hoff is going to show some new illustrations he's been working on, and then the supported assets list on .com that's powered by an API. And then Gray Machine's going to come up and talk about some of the stuff he's been working on, some videos and some animations and some cool stickers. And with that, I will go ahead and get started. If you have any questions as we go along, please post them in the stage chat, and we'll try to address them as they pop up. Is there an issue with my audio? Oh, okay.
Nope, hear you just fine.
That's about John. Okay, cool. All right, so roadmap review. This is the roadmap. We've actually been removing some of the pieces on here that are engineering specific and trying to make the roadmap focused more on product, and engineering is putting together their own roadmap. And those pieces that they're working on, of course, align with the pieces here. But we've been looking at, and actually I was chatting with Willie Fox about this and DeFi yesterday, and then Gray Machine had some ideas today. But we're probably going to make some additional views on this roadmap so that it's a little bit kind of easier to tell how things are organized by strategy. And I'll go over that in a second. But just a review for anybody who is new to this. This all lives in Notion under the product and UX category. This is the roadmap. Everything completed gets moved to the bottom once it hits 100%. And then the pieces that are in progress are at the top. And then we have the percentages over here for their status. Probably a lot of you are aware, we did a spec breakdown last week for Cosmo and Osmo on the new web app. Those two assets are very aligned in a lot of ways because Osmo support is dependent on Cosmo support. So that spec specifically included blockchain support for Cosmo and Osmo, view, send, and receive, and then staking on Cosmos and staking on Osmo. And then it'll also have, following shortly thereafter, LP on Cosmo Osmo, and then also, sorry, just move this one up, trading is also part of that. And then bonding will follow shortly after, or possibly alongside with liquidity providing. On Juno, on-ramp, off-ramp, I'll let Fox McCloud give an update on that. But we are making some progress with the on Juno team. Fox, did you want to say anything in particular about that?
Sure. I mean, as you said, we're making progress, slow and steady. Communication between teams honestly hasn't been the best, especially with the holidays. We had a quick sync up yesterday, and they showed us a kind of wireframe that their team built out, and it looks good. So unfortunately, it's going to take a slight pause until after the new year because their engineers and our engineers are both taking some much needed time off. But hopefully we'll hit that full steam ahead in the new year.
Cool, thanks for that. And one of the things we are still planning to do is do Gem and on Juno at the same time. So because we had some of the missing pieces from them handed over yesterday, we're hoping that, and then there's a couple still tech pieces remaining, but we think we have enough now that Beard should be able to kick it off, at least on the front end. So hopefully we'll be able to tackle those two at the same time. And then some displaying DeFi positions and how that is going to work. We've got some early concepting done on that. That's a pretty big lift, but like providing liquidity and staking and all of those pieces fit into that as like those first components. And then down the road, we've already started looking at this Osmo bridge concept. I'm not going to go over any of the UX on this today, but maybe I can do that on the next one. We started exploring this. It's for anybody who's new to DeFi, it's kind of a complicated thing, but yeah, I'll prepare maybe something for the next office hours to kind of explain what it is and explain how we're thinking about it. But this will be a cool feature down the road. Bridging in general will be an awesome feature to have in our ecosystem. And that's pretty much all of the pieces that are in flight right now. Let me just check the stage chat. Okay. All right. And so I'm going to go into this. I just wanted to say, this is very high level, and I thought that this might be useful. It's useful for me when I visualize things like this, and I thought it might be useful for anybody who's following along with all of the projects we're working on. The roadmap is very linear feeling, but I wanted to outline these higher strategy buckets that we've identified on the product workstream that align with this roadmap, so that you can see like all the different pieces that fit into these strategy buckets. So let me just zoom in on this. So I just went over like Cosmo Osmo. These are all of the pieces that fit into this strategy. Everything outlined in blue has some progress made on it already and or is in progress. And then one of the next strategy buckets we have is needing to sunset beta, this idea of what qualifies as a must-have in the new web app, and then what qualifies as a nice-to-have, things that potentially we would remove or not carry over into the new web app, but essentially looking at all the different pieces in beta.shapeshift.com that would carry over into the new web app before we consider it, good enough to sunset beta. So this is going to be a big effort starting in the beginning of the year. And I just wanted to show this. So having a fiat on and off-ramp provider, Gem is definitely a must-have. We put on Juno as a nice-to-have just because there's still a couple pieces we need from them, but I'm hoping that we'll have everything we need in order to have both of these. Just linking out to the terms of service and a privacy policy, these would be DAO-based right now. Those pieces are still from centralized ShapeShift. So I know Willie's been working on that, I think, with legal. And then what assets and chains do we need to support in the new web app? What are must-haves in order for us to consider sunsetting beta. And this is all still, these conversations are going to start early in January. Fox McCloud's going to schedule a public call with the engineering workstream. So anybody who wants to come in and listen can, but we're going to be talking about these. So none of this has been decided. I just wanted to go over it and show you guys like what those pieces are that we've identified. So these are the assets that currently are on beta that are supported, that are not supported on the new web app. ThorChain support, a lot of you are probably aware of that. That's something, at least send and receive and trading, we would like to get in the new web app before we sunset beta. And then being able to download your history in a CSV. Obviously, this is important for a lot of people with taxes. And then multiple accounts per asset. This is actually something that's currently being worked on right now by, I think, Beard and DeFi. They've been working a lot. And actually, maybe next time, too, that would be a good thing to show you guys the UX around that, how they're planning to tackle it. There was a lot of back and forth and a lot of ideation around it, but I think the solution they landed on is a pretty good one. And it'll be, I think, even better than it was in beta. So we're pretty excited about that one. And then the ability to set your default currency. TBD, keep key settings. So right now in beta, you can set up your keep key. When you get a new keep key, you can come in and you can label it and set your PIN. Those kind of settings don't exist in the new web app. And keep key used to be part of, and it probably still is part of, centralized ShapeShift. I know there are some plans to potentially sell it or open source it. So there's definitely some things we need to figure out with keep key, because right now beta.shapeshift.com is where new keep key users go to set up their keep key, and we need to still make sure that they'll still have a place to go in order to do that. And then some things we're considering to remove. Again, all of this is still up for discussion and conversation, but we're thinking potentially to remove the direct support for Ledger and Treasure. Ledger support works with MetaMask right now in the new web app. And then we never really had a ton of Treasure users using the beta.shapeshift.com directly. So it's possibly something we could talk about removing or not considering a must-have in order to sunset beta. And then support tracking on multiple wallets at once. We have this in beta.shapeshift.com where you can connect multiple wallets and it'll continue to track those balances for you. I would love to have that same feature in the new web app, and I'm sure a lot of us would, but we need to decide if that's a must-have in order to sunset beta. It could be something we still do, but there's a lot of engineering lift around that particular component. And if we did that, it might push back sunsetting of beta even further. So it could be something that we do as like something that we do later down the road. So that's the sunset beta bucket. Future of the mobile application. And this is just, again, this is all high level. So just pointing that out, none of this is set in stone, but these are all those strategy buckets we're working on and thinking about. Removing off, so getting rid of the ability to sign up or log in. And then a path for users who do currently log into the app to migrate to get their seed phrase, and then being able to import that into whatever the new version of the web app looks like. And again, we've been having conversations around wrapping the current web app 2.0 as a mobile app because it's extremely mobile friendly. So again, this is all stuff that we're thinking about and working on, but these are some of those high level pieces that we need to consider for the future of the mobile application. And I don't want to go into too much detail around everything, but I'm just going to go over the additional buckets that we've identified. ThorChain support. ThorChain also has two-sided LPing and one-sided LPing, which is really cool. And LPing is liquidity providing for anybody who's new to DeFi. And then different DeFi integrations and showing DeFi positions. The Zapper API integration, we already kind of started working on this conceptually. This is one of those first pieces in showing the user all their different DeFi positions across multiple protocols. Zapper has an API that will allow us to aggregate all this data into the new web app. So we've kind of been looking at that and brainstorming how we can do it even better than Zapper does, and how we display that data to the user. Willie, did you want to add anything on that one? I know this is one that's very close to your heart.
Yeah, this is one that I think is so critical, and hopefully we can also leverage. There's this open source SDK from Zerion that a lot of other projects leverage, and It'll make it so that like right now when I connect my wallet, for instance, to app.shapeshift.com, I really only see my wallet balances, and now I see my balances for year-end vaults. But someone like me, most of my crypto is at work in DeFi strategies. It's not just sitting idly in my wallet. And this is the same for a lot of the power crypto users these days. So yeah, I'm very excited to be able to plug my wallet into ShapeShift and see all of these DeFi positions, and eventually be able to interact with all these DeFi positions from the ShapeShift interface. And then doing this across chain. This is the big difference. Zapper is doing a really great job with the Ethereum networks, but right now they only support Ethereum networks. So the ability to display DeFi positions both on the Ethereum networks as well as these Cosmos chains soon, including Thor chain, that will be a major differentiator.
Cool. Thanks, Lily. And then other buckets, the ShapeShiftology strategy going forward, looking at layer 2 solutions, bridges, which I mentioned before, a dApp store, NFTs, supporting all EVM networks, and then, of course, the big one we all are excited about, Fox Rewards. And then just some additional features that are outside of strategy buckets. This is one that we're currently working on, moving the Fox ETH liquidity providing into the new web app. And then an idea we were tossing around the other day on the product workstream is creating an interactive demo on the new web app. Right, we've heard some feedback. Like right now, if you really don't know what the new web app is and you come in and there's just a CTA to connect your wallet, we thought it might also be really cool there to have an opportunity for somebody to dive in and see an interactive demo of what the web app is before they just connect their wallet to something that they're not really familiar with. And then the ability for custom tokens. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of additional features we add to this list. So while this is very like UX feeling right now, this is more for us just to kind of get a sense of these buckets and really iron out like the different pieces that fit into these buckets. And then we will be updating the roadmap view to have more of a bucketed view. And Gray Machine had some really cool ideas around this earlier that he was sharing with me. So I think that we'll be able to add additional views inside here that will be more useful to everybody. And let me just check and make sure there's no questions in the stage chat. Cool. Yeah, I agree with Giantkin. Some way to tell the user that Thor chain is down would be awesome, because as we all know, they've gone up and down quite a few times recently. Cool. All right. Let me jump forward.
Great Machines point with no Solana support. Yeah, that's definitely one that we'll want to support eventually. It's kind of in its own bucket because it's not just an EVM network, and it's not one of the chains that we currently support on beta.shapeshift.com, and it's not yet on Thor chain. But it could potentially be one of the chains that the Solana community comes and adds themselves, using the work that the groundwork that the engineering workstream has laid with chain adapters and Unchained and HD Wallet.
Cool. Thanks, Lily. I just wanted to give a shout out in the audience. I see Decentralized Jay. He is our new PM. He's starting on our work stream on Monday, on the 27th. So thanks for joining us today. Let me see if I can invite him to the stage and if he wants to say anything. How do I? You guys know how, right click?
And then invite to speak. Decentralized Jay, you should have an invite. Nice Axel Rose headshot. Oh, Diggy. There we go.
Hear me?
Hey, yeah, hi, welcome.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm starting on Monday and absolutely stoked to be a part of the team.
Awesome. Yeah, we gave a little intro about you, I think, in the announcements a week or so ago. But yeah, Decentralized Jay is a true degen, and we're super excited to have him joining us. Thanks for jumping up on the stage.
Yeah, degen is an understatement. Thank you guys. I'm stoked to get started and enjoying seeing where this all goes.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So I'm going to jump into the next piece. So we've been running, Beard and I have been running usability tests on providing liquidity. And I just wanted to go over some of the results. So this is actually, this is not the first page. All right. So the liquidity pools here on Osmo Atom get started. People that are newer, and this is something we already knew, but people who are newer to DeFi always want to hit learn more or get more information at this point. Right now we have the learn more screens. They would be essentially coded inside our application, but it looks like we're going to get the proposal to put Pendo inside Alpha. It looks like it's going to pass. If that passes, this screen will be a perfect opportunity to use the Pendo guides and pop up a little guide here on the right-hand side for people that are newer to providing liquidity. And we can get really robust information to the user at the right moments as they're going through this user flow. So we're hoping to actually be able to bring that learn more experience into guides, so the user can dive in and get a lot more information without actually having to leave and go Google things. So we're super excited if that proposal passes to get those into the new web app, the alpha version. So get started. So this screen was so people who are newer to DeFi, this screen is overwhelming to them at first glance. So one of the things we wanted to do was consolidate or close this and collapse this. And then once the user inputs their amounts, we're looking at having it automatically expand. But this drawer would be open, be closed, and then open. So this drawer is also extremely important because sometimes we're going to have where a user inputs only one type of liquidity and then the allocation gets distributed amongst multiple assets. So we want them to be able to always see what the distribution of their assets are in each type of liquidity providing. But the feedback was it was just really overwhelming on that first screen. So I'll show you in a second what we've decided to do for our next round of testing. And then some other notes that we had from usability testing were how much variation can the user expect in the APR? And then again, just especially more on the people who are newer to DeFi, just some more information, some tool tips, and then and something about the fees. So especially on Osmo, just this tooltip here, just making sure that they understand that on Osmo, the gas fees are extremely low, that this is not incorrect. A lot of users that are used to ETH are used to these really high gas fees. So just including that information in the tooltip. And then after we did the spec breakdown last week, we decided to bring back custom gas fees. So on Osmo, actually, we will be bringing back the ability to select your gas fee, which is really cool. I mean, all the gas fees on Osmo are extremely low to nothing, but that is something that we are going to be bringing in. So the user would be essentially able to select which gas fee, and that would determine how quick their transaction processes. And then one thing too, we had some call outs about what their allocation of the pool is. And let me see. Those were the high level feedback that we had on the liquidity pools. So let me stop my share and pull up what we've been exploring. And then let me just see if there's any questions before I keep going. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so this is not in prototype form yet. This is still in our sketch file. Hopefully you guys can see that. So one thing we brought in from, and we have this on .com right now for when you provide liquidity with Fox ETH, just a tip that just lets the user know that they're going to receive pool tokens representing their position. And I think we can still work on the copy a little bit, but essentially, just looking at redoing the screen, so they enter the amount of Osmo and/or Atom for the supply, and then this drawer is collapsed. And then once they've entered in those details, We were actually kind of thinking to maybe do something like this with these green bars. This is just something we're exploring. And then once they've entered that information, that drawer would expand so that they could see the breakdown. And then this is where we're adding that percentage of the pool that was requested. Anyway, this is all still, we're exploring this, and we're going to do another round of usability testing on this. And let me see what else I wanted to call out here. Just the learn more screens. These are the screens I was talking about. We can put them inside the app here and just have them essentially hard coded, but we'd really love to, again, pull this information into these Pendo guides that pop up in the right-hand corner. That will give us a lot more flexibility so we can change them much more easily and present them to the user at specific moments instead of like having them dive into it in this learn more section. We could actually pop up guides as they're going through it based on the contents of the screen they're on, which would be extremely helpful for people who are newer to DeFi. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we're exploring right now with providing liquidity. Again, Beard and I are working through this, and then once we get it a little bit more ironed out, we'll be running another round of usability testing. But super excited about this. And this is only the two-sided liquidity. We're also going to be testing one-sided and multi-sided liquidity on our next round. Let me stop my share and then go back to the... Sorry, guys. I always struggle to go between two applications. Okay. Cool. So now I am going to, if there are no questions in the stage, I'm going to hand it over to Hoff to jump up here and show some of the illustrations he's been working on and some of the stuff he's been doing on .com. Hoff, are you able to jump up here, or do you need to be invited? There should be like a green, yeah, you got it.
Cool. GM, everybody. I'm going to share my screen and the Zoom. Let me know if you guys see my screen. Can you guys see everything?
Yep, see it.
Okay, cool.
You're on an incognito window. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So a few things, ShapeShift.com. Got some new newsletters up. You guys can go here and always check that stuff. Also, just posted this new blog article. Did this little illustration with Chainlink. So we launched that yesterday, the day before. Kind of cool. And then this other thing we're working on is this supported assets page. It's password protected right now, but basically we're using this the CoinGecko API. So it's pulling all the same. I hard-coded Fox to kind of show up high, but all the same stuff that's on the assets page on the web app. So I did a hard call. I'm gonna add a little search because there's like, this is the API. There's like thousands in there. So when you try to load the whole list, it was like crashing. Right now there's like 40 or something. Yeah, so that's pretty simple. It's pretty good for SEO stuff because all this stuff will show up. But again, it's just the same list. I added the price. We could take that out, and if you did like click on it, it takes you to CoinGecko. But that's that. Then also we're working on, let's see, some new like homepage imagery for announcing the new web app. So this copy is just placeholder. I know marketing's kind of working on the campaign and copy for this, but so the idea of this was just kind of on the current app, we have kind of those little like dots that were animated. So I kind of like was inspired by that, but kind of made it a little more dynamic. And I was thinking, when I animate this, a couple of these will kind of shoot and animate on the page, which is kind of fun. So again, all this copy is FPO. This is just one option, playing with a few others. This one's kind of like a little nature scene, which you guys have seen a lot, and using the Aurora Borealis, which I've kind of used that in the past. Even in the old brand guidelines, this little like call to action blue, we actually called it Borealis. So that was kind of a fun tie to the brand. So yeah, a couple little options. It's really all I got. I can check for any questions. Stage chat. Cool. Guess that's it.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Hal. And now I'd like to invite Gray Machine to come up here. He's got some cool stuff to show us that he's working on. And just so everybody knows, yeah, Gray Machine in the new year is officially heading up the creative services squad on the product work stream.
I am accepting. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was still saying. Hi, hello everyone. I don't think I have a whole lot to like hop on Zoom and show. I can just kind of quickly talk about things and I can link out to the stuff that is either complete or being worked on. Yeah, so as Diggy mentioned, I'm kind of winding down my full-time job. Actually, it's happened pretty quickly. I got my my notice in, and because it's the holidays, it's actually it's actually happening pretty quickly. So, come January, I'll be hopping into the product and design work stream, heading up a lot of media production, creative service initiatives, right? So, over the last week or 2 weeks, maybe, things that I've gotten accomplished, things I probably already mentioned in the ops video, but like over the last few months, I've been working on video content, pushing to YouTube, and just trying to focus on educational stuff that just kind of helps people understand, when we talk about, putting Fox in a tokamak reactor, or when we tip people with XFox, like kind of diving into these things of like, well, okay, what does that look like? If I get XFox, how do I put that into my wallet? Or if I have Fox, how do I actually put it into a tokamak reactor? So things like that, where I actually record the screen process and we kind of walk through it to kind of just get people informed on that. So those are the two most recent videos that I've got posted. We had one before on Fox tips on mainnet, and then we've recently introduced XFox, which is already going to change. But as of right now, the video is framed with the idea of XDAI network, which I guess is already technically not XDAI network, but I guess we all still kind of call it XDAI, even though it's Gnosis. So that'll probably have to change already, but that got up, and then tokamak, and then I wanted to get something up on OneFox. I think my recording process on that kind of screwed up. My Ledger and Chrome were just acting up at the time, and I was hopeful that I got everything, but I think all the approvals didn't quite work correctly. So I might have to go back. So I'm going to focus on an Elk Fox walkthrough. Again, this kind of touches on the XDAI thing, so I guess I'll just have to do it for what it is right now. So just talking about XDAI, I'll touch briefly on getting, how do you get stuff to XDAI? Not in detail, but just talking briefly about maybe OmniBridge and XPollinate, just like what that looks like moving your funds around. and then the opportunities that exist on the elk finance, which are actually really good. Beyond that, I've been working with we got a budget from Peakcoin over in marketing to do some stickers for the Discord. So you might have seen some of these with our little unnamed fox. This is an illustrator that I found on Giphy. There's a artist channel, like you can browse all these different artists that are available for work and you look at their Instagram channel. So this is an artist, Catalina. She goes by the moniker Illustache, and she's out of Argentina. So I've been kind of distilling ideas from the group and kind of playing creative director in this, just kind of feeding her ideas and direction and how, just it's kind of funny. Like in this one, the fox holds up a cup of coffee and is wearing a robe, fun things like that. And I think we've got 4 completed. We'll get a few more up today. So those are fun. And then the big initiative over the next few weeks is going to be working on a launch video for Web V2. And this is kind of my wheelhouse. This is what I do or did at my old job, which is kind of strap into the launch process and work on videos and tutorials and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're looking at kind of a Web V2 walkthrough of what all the staking options are and how that works. Just again, like I was talking, like just to show it, just so people can see it in action. But also more of a commercial video to get people excited about just this idea of borderless, open source, community-driven web portal, right? That's mostly it. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm forgetting. Oh, I've done all kinds of artwork for holiday stuff, snow globes, and taken some of Huff stuff and kind of reformatted it and put it a little bit in motion. So there's some fun holiday stuff that's been posted, and you've probably seen on social media as well. I'm eager for us to kind of relaunch our Instagram because Instagram is just so visual. Like it's all about visuals and photos and video. And we've got so much of this content that would be great to get up there on IG. So, in fact, I see Willie just popped up. I hear there's a rumor going around that we might be accessing our Instagram.
Yes, Instagram access is imminent. Finally, just working through a couple final security steps, making sure we transfer it the proper way this time.
Okay, cool.
So I'm hoping today. I was hoping yesterday, but we ran into some small hiccups. So hopefully by the end of today, we'll have Instagram stuff ready. And oh man, I can't wait. We got such a great backlog of content to get out there.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
Totally. Great. We're really excited for the video, the marketing video that you're working on for the new web app. Just to say, we saw a video that Gray Machine did for Giveth, which is freaking amazing, and so we're super excited for the one he puts together for the new web app.
I don't know if I can link to. I mean, I've got the Dropbox review link, but I don't know if it's posted anywhere. And I don't know where that stands, if that's shareable or not. But once it's up, once it's in a place that we can share, I'll share the video.
You'll be able to share it. Everyone will be able to share it tomorrow morning at about 9:15 a.m. Mountain Time.
Oh, is it? Nice. Oh, it's finally going up. Nice. Yeah. So Giveth is. I don't even know how much I can say, but Giveth is having a big thing tomorrow, and there's a video, and I worked with Lauren at Giveth to make a launch video for them that talks about their big thing that is happening tomorrow. So I'd like to do something similar. It's a launch video, right? So we've got a big Web V2 launch. So we really should have something that kind of gets people excited about it and talks about what it is. So that's my big push over the next few weeks. I think it's about all I've got. And all this stuff that I'm talking about, I'll drop some examples in the chat. The YouTube videos and stickers and stuff like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming up on stage.
Yep.
Cool. So now we're, I guess, at the end of our presentation for today. Usually at the end, we try to open it up for community feedback, ideas that people have, or any questions anybody wants to ask of all of us while we're here. once.
I feel like I know Seth has been asking about layer 2s, and a lot of community members have been just curious around when we'll have layer 2 support. And so Diggy did cover that. That was one of the buckets we had just to support all the EVM networks. It's been a hot topic of conversation with product and engineering, and definitely will be a high priority for 2022. And yeah, I'm very hopeful that we'll have a lot of these EVM networks supported pretty quickly, as well as trading on these EVM networks. And that'll be a big improvement, because right now, with only supporting Ethereum, the fees are getting pretty crazy. So we're at the beginning of this kind of migration from the masses from using mainnet to using layer 2s. And fortunately, we're not too late to the party, because still the majority of the activity is happening on mainnet. But definitely expect that to shift throughout 2022, and we want to make sure we're ahead of it and ready for the wave. All right, and I see community member Stake Tons has their hand up. Just invited you up to speak. Hey. Do you have a question, Stake Tons?
Oh, hey, sorry, I was on mute. Hey, so I was just wondering, I've been following a lot on, I'm not sure if community's into collaborations on YouTube, but there's a fantastic page that has almost 500,000 subscribers. It's called Whiteboard Crypto. They do really great animation explanatories of, smart contracts. Just wanting to see if there was a possible collaboration with them, and just kind of curious about any openness to collaborations with YouTube channels.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Whiteboard Crypto before, but this looks pretty awesome. I know I was just working with Peatcoin this past week on an interview with this exchange, LA Token, that's listed. I think they listed Box today, actually. And yeah, it got me thinking that we really we should focus more on just doing interviews and getting featured on these YouTube channels that have large followings. We do have a lot of great content, and I think it just hasn't been something that we've quite focused on since launching the DAO. But if we do focus on it, I think you're right that we could probably have some great content on a lot of these different channels that already have really strong followings that happen to be our exact target market. Stake Tons, do you know anyone on the team of Whiteboard Crypto?
Not necessarily. I've been following them and just pretty much sending some of my friends and family that are interested in crypto, and they've seemed to really enjoy the content. So I just thought that since ShapeShift's about to open up their V2, it'd be awesome to see content coming from there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too, is that with the V2, we really have something fresh and exciting to market and to point users to. So I think that's a great idea. Maybe we can work with the marketing and growth work streams to really make a push to get the word out about ShapeShift on all these channels once V2 goes live publicly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. Any other questions or thoughts on product? Decentralized Jay, you want to come back up and tell us what you're most excited about? I think there we go. Inviting you to speak if you want to join. Eric, you want to come up and tell us what you're most excited about? Do you think the roadmap is right on point? We're thinking about the right stuff. Do you think there's anything missing? Howdy, Eric. What do you think of the roadmap?
Hey, sorry, my computer's being super slow. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah, I think the roadmap is great. I'm increasingly in favor of really just putting no effort into the old beta ShapeShift, and the question of when we have sufficient feature set or parity, as we often call it, to like try to migrate people to the open one. I kind of feel like it's there already. And I don't know if others agree with me on that, but I guess that's just the main theme that I want to point out. The new one is really where efforts should be focused, and I don't think it needs to replicate the old for that to be true. And I'm also super excited to start using Osmosis through the ShapeShift interface. Yeah, those are a couple casual thoughts for now.
Thanks for sharing. I think, go ahead, Deegan, just saw you.
I was just going to say, yeah, we had a go, no go, a couple of them already for like the post soft launch. So right now we're tentatively planning to do a marketing push on the new web app starting January 12th. That'll hopefully come to fruition, and we'll know more how comfortable we feel in the first week or so of January. But yeah, definitely not waiting for parity before we start pushing the new web app. And I agree with you. Even actually, Fox McCloud was just telling us yesterday, we're not really going to be focusing much on bugs and stuff on beta going forward. Most of the efforts, or I would say 99% of the effort, is just on the new web app.
Cool. Just a point for like open discussion. Why not like let people find the new site, right? If you go to shapeshift.com, there's no way to find it. I think that was probably appropriate on the first day when we launched it in soft beta, but that was like 6 weeks ago. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
Well, I do think on January 12th for sure we're gonna start.
Sure. So that's the default path.
Right.
Why not have it now?
I think it was mostly due to the Yearn router contract is what we were waiting for. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
That was definitely part of the strategy, was that we didn't want to push too many users there, because if you do deposit into the Yearn router contract now, then the DAO doesn't earn any affiliate revenues from that. And also just the soft launch, like we wanted. There's still polishing stuff and fixing some issues. Like one reported just this morning was that you couldn't send USDC, so still some it's getting a lot better, and we could consider opening it up sooner. But kind of the plan right now is to like get everyone on board with getting it into a great place to open up a nice MLP that will also be generating revenues by the 12th, and then start putting users there. One thing we could consider doing too, though, in the meantime, is like we have this earn tab on beta.shapeshift.com, and right now the earn tab just points users to the farming page. We could consider, having at least like a path from that earn tab to point users to the new app to start earning yield, and that'd be a nice way to like at least start maybe pointing some users there, and also just letting users of beta.shapeshift.com that do want to earn yield know that there's a path to them. So.
Yeah, and those comps we shared earlier too, like that whole CTA will take you to the new app, and it's ready to go whenever so it'll be up by the 12th for sure.
Yeah, I want to point out that as of the 12th, it means that the new web app, roughly 2 months from when it was live to when we were even letting people find it publicly. And to me, that feels far too slow. It's not even a development bottleneck. It's there, and we're not opening it up. We're not letting people use it. And I worry about that from a iterative speed perspective.
Yeah, I do hear you there. I think, a big part we're in this interesting transition period. If it was the only app that we had, then I think we'd absolutely be pushing users there. But because we do have beta.shapeshift.com and we have the mobile app that do have a lot of features right now, a lot more features than the current V2. It's just making the decision of when is the right time to stop pushing users to the old version and start pushing them to the new version. And I do think, to your point earlier around should we focus, how much effort should we focus on the old version? I think we definitely agree that at this point it makes a lot of sense to focus the vast majority, if not all of our efforts on the new version. And I think a good thought experiment for that, because I know a big part of the motivation to continue any efforts on the legacy versions is that we have about 200,000 monthly active users using these that we don't want to lose. We want to make sure that we retain these users and migrate them to the new version. And I think there's definitely merit to that. Obviously, it's valuable if we can more of those users we can retain, the better for the DAO. But as an interesting thought experiment, I like to think of even if we were to lose all of those active users, which is highly unlikely that we ever would, but even if we were to lose all of them, as long as we do achieve our vision and our mission of building the interface, connecting users to protocols across all these chains, and the Fox chain piece, that's going to be huge. And as long as we achieve that vision, then we're going to be set, basically. But if on the flip side, if we retain all of those users, but the legacy users, but we don't achieve that vision, then it's all for nothing, basically. So I think that's a helpful thought experiment to get us all aligned with focusing on the new version rather than the old version. But yeah, I think it's always good to see how we can move faster, and we should be increasing our pace. And I know something that isn't always easy to see from the outside, because most of us just see like the user-facing updates, is the work that's going on behind the scenes to invest in future development and to make it a great developer experience where any developer can come in and build on top of this. Whereas previously, everything that we built in Legacy Shapeshift had to be built by internal Shapeshift engineers. So that is what a lot of the work that's been going on over the past couple of months is laying that groundwork to make it really easy to add new blockchains and to add new protocols. So hopefully the work we're doing now will pay dividends and be able to move a lot faster going forward.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that, Willie. I want to highlight this one because this isn't a case of us trying to move slowly for good engineering, right? Which there's always a good argument for that. The new Web v2 is literally live and has been for 6 weeks, and it's more like a cultural question. Like we haven't, even if we're not ready to promote it publicly, there is something less than that, which is just putting a button on the homepage so that someone can find it, like to come across it. There's no engineering work required there. There's no marketing work required there. It's really about like our tolerance of letting people try the new thing we've built. And I just want to emphasize this as like a cultural issue that we should consider. 2 months to go from it being ready and usable to announcing it to the world. That feels far too long to me.
I get what you're saying, and it reminds me of just like a constant thing that I think every product company feels. Oftentimes, especially if you have a sales team, the sales team will oftentimes they might get in the situation where they hold themselves back from selling because there's some future feature that they're waiting on, and they're like, oh, once we have this feature, it'll be so much easier to sell. So what they end up doing is they end up preventing themselves from closing deals in the meantime. And I think you're absolutely right that we shouldn't hold ourselves back. But I do think that there's thought that's going into it, and I'm not sure that just pointing users to this new version right now, or over the past 6 weeks would have been the right move. I think it's definitely something we can discuss and consider. But we do have these existing apps that are live, and the new version just wasn't over the past 6 weeks hasn't been anywhere near. It does have this ability to deposit tier, which is unique and interesting, but it was also missing that revenue piece. So it's not necessarily very beneficial to the DAO to push a bunch of users over there right now, whereas it will be once we have that affiliate revenue piece in place. So I hear you, but I also think I don't necessarily see it as like a cultural failure or something that we're doing wrong. Maybe something we can learn from, but I think there's logic on both sides. But we're getting closer. Yeah, maybe we do just try new ShapeShift. I'm certainly not opposed to throwing that button up there, and I feel better with the progress that's been made over the past 6 weeks than I did 6 weeks ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely not opposed to like putting a button on .com to drive people there. I mean, it's not a marketing push. It's just to let people find it if they're interested in it, if I heard about it.
Yeah, I just see very little downside. And the alternative is something that we all need to understand, which is a constant downside of time lost. And time lost in crypto is so valuable. So the hard questions are, do we let time get lost because we want to put more engineering or product work into something? And sometimes the answer to that is yes, right? Because we need to build it in a better or more resilient way. But in this case, we're bearing the cost of that time. And I don't know that there's a sufficient reason for that. That someone would go to the new one and use the Yearn Vault, and that wouldn't currently accrue value to the DAO. Okay, that's a good point. Is that worth 2 months of lost time? I don't think it's anywhere close to that. And those people aren't earning revenue now, right? So what are we comparing that to? Just the iterative approach is so important in software development, and as we transition into open source, like this open source app is out there, it's ready, and we're just keeping it behind this curtain. I think unnecessarily. So I don't say these things to force us to do anything differently. I do say them to just make sure we're reflecting on the time value here, and to maybe consider that.
Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, I think I definitely hear you, and I see it as not necessarily. I don't see us as losing time because we're still being valuable and productive. But to your point, we have heard recently, just for multiple protocols. Like we were talking to Faye and Tribe, and they were like, to Faye, who's now just merged with Rari, about potentially providing an interface for Rari and doing that for all the different lending protocols. And Brittany from Faye was like, "What? You guys are doing that? I had no idea." And we've kind of heard that same thing from like a lot of protocols, that as soon as they hear this offering and the potential to get integrated and have an open source, soon decentralized interface to their protocol, they love it. And they're like, "Sign us up. We can be integrated." But time and time again, they haven't heard this yet. So to your point, there's definitely there's value in showing progress and getting the word out. And there's still, the narrative that we have right now is a really compelling narrative, but we can do better to shout it out from the mountaintops. So thanks for sharing, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I love the Web v2. It's great. It is far superior to the closed source ShapeShift, and I want the world to see it. I want the feedback. I want to know what the problems are with it. I want to be able to share it more widely. I haven't been able to talk about it, and it's been 6 weeks that I've had to remain silent that this great thing exists, just behind the curtain of ShapeShift. A casual user that arrives to our website, they won't notice that anything has changed, since July when the yield farming banner went up on the front page. And all of us know that are involved in this DAO how much work is going on behind the scenes. I guess I don't want it to be behind the scenes. That's all.
All right, very good points. We'll see if we can get at least a block on the homepage that lets people know there's a work in progress and they can check it out. And you're right. We've also, in conversations with investors, one of the common questions is, why can't I use MetaMask with the ShapeShift app? And they say, oh, here's this new version and stuff. But a casual user that arrives on the website has no idea.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Good discussion. I don't want to take any more time with it, but thanks for chatting with me, Willie.
Thanks for bringing it up. And yeah, we're over time. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Diggy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Diggy.
Great conversation as always. Thanks, team. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.